Hi, I'm Sophie,
Hi, I'm Paul.
and we are SP Film Viewers.
For today's episode, we'll be discussing the Pixar animation Up. Now, Sophie reckoned that she had seen this film before, but she wasn't entirely sure. But as we were going through watching it, she realised she hadn't pretty much not seen anything of it at all, except for maybe a couple of snippets.
So I think it was more, I knew the concept of Up. Well, I thought I did. And it's one of those where it's been on the TV. I've never sat down and actually watched
All
Up
the way through.
all the way through. It's normally been on telly and then it's like catching halfway through. And it's normally at the same point. I've never seen the beginning, I realised. So yeah, it does get a little bit hazy. I kind of remember certain parts of it. So like, I remember Kevin, the bird, little chubby kid. I remember the chocolate scene.
Yeah.
The old man. And then I said loads of dogs for some reason. I never understood the dogs. I just didn't get what the dog. I called it Dog Island in my head because
Right.
I didn't understand because I'd not got the background of.
Yeah, you had all these pieces, but you couldn't actually piece them
Yeah.
together as to
Well,
what
I
it all
initially
meant.
thought as well that the little boy, the little chubby boy, was his like grandchild because I'd not seen the beginning. So I was like, oh well, it's his granddad, and they've gone on this little adventure, but there was a bit that made me sad as well, that made me cry, but it was more towards the end.
This was before you.
I even knew the beginning.
Yeah, which is really sad.
Yeah. So the other part is when he's, I think, is it when he's in the house? He eventually gets it onto the.
Paradise Falls.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's talking to her and saying it kind of sits in the chair, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Pretending like she's there, and that bit kind of got to me, anyways, because I'm a bit of a soppy one, anyways, for anything like that. So I didn't actually want to watch Up because I knew it was sad.
But you didn't really know the full impact as to why it was sad?
No, I didn't. And you didn't really make me.
Well, I wasn't going to tell you exactly what it was because it's sweet and.
Well, it was funny because when we watched it, I was like, who's this annoying girl? Initially, I was like, she's so annoying. Who is she? I don't remember her in Up at all. And actually, she's like she's part of the main story, isn't she? The main reason why all of this is kicking off.
Exactly, yeah.
But I didn't understand. I thought his wife had just passed away or something like that, and not really seen
how their life developed
through the year kind of thing of how they were living together and such, and growing old with one another, and how they wanted to go on this adventure, and that never
accumulated.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little sequence of events, isn't it? Because it's like, from when they first meet, with as annoying little kids, and she's all like arrogant and
yeah,
bossy and stuff, and then from there it jumps to them being married life, and then fixing up the house that they were playing in as kids, then planning for a pregnancy, but unfortunately
it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen because I think it's been implied that she can't bear children, which can be a real issue with people in everyday life as well. Some people just can't, which is quite sad.
It is quite sad, and I think that's because you can see that that's where they wanted their life to be going down that road, and I think they would have been lovely parents, but it is one of those things that you can't control.
So they decide to invest the dream goal of travelling to Paradise Falls. But of course, like most things in life, the unexpected happens, like the car tyre bursting.
You just need it for something else, or your house needs repairing, and it's just life in general, like everyday things to get by. You need to kind of chip into your dreams sometimes, which is true. Sometimes you can follow your dreams and get everything you want, but reality is that you have to work hard at life and kind of persevere. And it's a bittersweet moment when you see them kind of growing old and they're still not getting to where they want to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, eventually they are able to. He seems to get the tickets.
Yeah, because he's like, scrimped and saved away, and it's like, right, okay. She's kind of maybe forgot about that dream, but he's kind of like, oh, that'll be a nice surprise for her. But unfortunately.
It's a really sad kind of scene, and you kind of gave it away on this one for me. It was actually you that tipped me.
Because I've just seen it a few times now, and every time I think it obviously doesn't help with the fact that it's the music, because that's a very key component about the whole thing, because it's all told with the thing of the music tells the story with the visuals, and this is no dialogue. within this sequence, but then it's that slow piano, but it's like, it always gets me.
And I'm thinking, I think I know what's going to happen, but I haven't seen this before at all. And you were kind of already whelmed up before this. So then I'm looking at you, and then I'm thinking, well, you're upset. And then I'm watching and then I'm upset because obviously you're feeling it. And then...
Well, I know you'd be upset anyway, because you cry at things like this all the time. But
I was absolutely devastated for him. I really was, because he'd just got his dream to go take...
Trip,
And I feel like he felt like he stopped her dream. I think he felt like it was his fault. He'd got in the way of her dream, and that's why he wanted to make sure he could be able to give her that, because that's all he thought she wanted. But it turns out actually wasn't the case.
Because, like you say, that other bit that is another quite sad bit, he gets there and he's looking through the scrapbook of what I'm going to do, and it's kind of like realising that it's just being with that person
that matters the most. And that's kind of, doesn't matter what life throws at you or what you kind of going through, as long as you've got one another, then that's the main part of the story. And she wanted to go on adventures with him, because if she didn't have him going on an adventure on yourself, it's not as fun.
No.
Don't have somebody to talk to about when you get back and reminisce about it or anything like that. You don't have that, do you?
So I think with most people, you think you've got to be doing the travelling the big wide world to do anything that's classed as a big fun thing to do, but it's just the simple things, just being with the person you really care about, that matters the most at the end of the day. Yeah,
and building your life, your story with that person, and growing old together. I think that's the bit that was lovely, was she was content with the life she led. She didn't feel like she'd missed out, even though he thought she would feel that way.
Yeah.
She was more than happy with her life that she'd had, and because of how he was with her and how he made her feel. That kind of touched me, because it was like, obviously she kind of fell and she passes away, and then you see kind of how this person now, the old man, is having to deal without his other half.
Yeah.
And I found that really tricky to think about. So I even then was like, then thinking about you leaving me. But then I got even more sad thinking, if I left you, how you would be on your own. And that made me more sad than the actual thought of me being on my own, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense, yeah. No. I know it'd be tricky, but it's a tricky situation for anybody who's...
Yeah, but I think because if you've got somebody that you love dearly and you don't want to lose them, I think that's when this bit as well touches you a hell of a lot.
Yeah. You're trying to keep the tears back, especially when I first went to see it at the cinema.
Who did you go with?
It was for uni days, so...
Well, you definitely don't want to start crying in front of your mates then, would you?
No.
Maybe it was because I was sat next to you. I'll take it as that. So...
fun fact about the hill that they're on. There's twice you see him, he's climbing up, going, oh, I'm struggling uphill.
Yeah.
That's apparently the same island from Bug's Life.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started on Bug's Life. I love Bug's Life. And when we got the Disney Plus, I was like, we have to watch Bug's Life. And Paul's like looking at me like, what is Sophie's obsession with Bug's Life? But I don't know what it is actually, why I love Bug's Life so much. But I know that they used to do them in Happy Meals, and I was...
Yeah, I think I had one as well. There was a little flick on a leaf or something, and roll like a re-rolling back and forth, isn't it?
It was amazing. And I didn't go and eat all the McDonald's. I was a chubby kid, but I didn't eat all the McDonald's just to get the toys. It ended up that my mum actually went and was like, my child wants Dot. You know, the Dot.
Yeah.
That she was the hardest one to get.
Like the super rare one.
I'd got everyone else and I just wanted Dot. And my mum was like, do you have any? I will pay you for a little crappy Happy Meal toy so that my daughter can have Dot. Because I'd got the full collection at this point.
Well, how many was there?
I don't know. You know, like how you see the display cabinet in McDonald's? It'd been about 10.
Really? Okay.
And I'd got basically all of them apart from Dot. And I was devastated because I absolutely loved Dot to bits. She was my favourite character. Anyways, I know we're going sidetracking off up. The fact is that you said that I wouldn't even have noticed. So what part of the anthill, is it just the actual hole?
Well, it's with the tree and the bank, isn't it? Yeah.
So. Yeah, it is. Which is quite iconic, really, to say the fact that we only watched it the other day as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realise.
But also on that, there's also the other things that Pixar like to do is where they add little throwbacks or upcoming things in previous things, where there's like lots of the pink bear from Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
That was I think that was the next film after this one. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. So that was like a throwing like, oh, here's something that's coming in. There's also the ball or something from like a little short as well for the lamp. You know, the Pixar lamp.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a thing for that as well. So.
Oh right, that's clever, isn't it? I like when they do that.
Yeah. So the main characters we've got
Kevin. I really liked Kevin. That was the only bit I could really remember was Kevin in the chocolate scene. You've got the old man.
Carl Fredricksen, Mr. Fredricksen, as referred to the little boy, Russell.
Little boy, little chubby boy.
He's great.
I like him a lot, and he's got his little badges, and he just wants to assist an elderly person. Well, to be honest, he should have picked somebody else because, God, he went through it all, didn't he, poor little kid. Then you've got, I want to call him Max, but it's not. Douglas?
Doug the dog, yeah.
Doug. I don't know why, I think just Max pops into my head because Max should be a dog's name. I don't know why. But he's so cute, isn't he? Like, I'll be your master. And all he's like...
Yeah, it would be nice to have a dog be able to speak like a human and understand what he's wanting.
I'd love as well for a cat. I want both.
Yeah.
I feel like the cat would be a little bit more sarcastic though.
Yeah, like, oh God. Yeah.
I feel like, it would like literally be like, ugh, human, stop touching me now. Whereas the dog would be like...
Yeah, can't get enough of you.
Yeah. So you might want to turn the cat's volume down, possibly. You're not in a good mood. But I'd love that. I ended up loving the relationship that all four of them had together. Because obviously, at the beginning, the granddad's not granddad, old man.
Well, you thought he was a granddad.
I did.
But he kind of reminds me, Mum pointed out as well when I was watching it with her, how it kind of reminds her of her brother and my late uncle. I guess in just the way he has white hair and glasses and thing, but he has that kind of, not like grumpy expression, but kind of like
like the mannerisms of him.
Sort of, yeah. There's something about his face that kind of reminds, in a way. But so there's something there as well that kind of makes you think, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like the thought of that that is the case.
But the relationship between Carl and Russell at the beginning is kind of, grumpy old man's like, oh, I don't want to be dealing with anybody.
Like a grumpy old man with the fact that the whole other houses are being demolished.
And he just wants to stay in his neighbourhood. He's like, just leave me alone.
I just want to live in my house. I've been in this house for God knows how long and I'm staying here.
Yeah.
It gets me when the letterbox. Did you see the beginning where they're like stamping like with paint and all cutesy, and it's got like her little handprint on it and they've put their names on it and it's just lovely. And then obviously while they're demolishing everything else, somehow this letterbox gets drove into.
Yeah, carelessness of.
So obviously the letterbox gets damaged, and anything that's in his house is just at the moment so precious because obviously it's her still. That's the only way you can kind of feel her connection is her being in that house and that her presence is still there. So I think that's why he doesn't want to move an upheaval or anything and go to a retirement home.
Yeah,
he's still got his old faculties and everything. It's not like he's...
Yeah, that's all he's got is that house and everything's within that environment of his living. So he's got his old faculties there, but again, he kind of violently hits the worker with it, and it's like, there's another example of like first scene of blood as well, and like a thing because he did clobber him quite hard on the head, and blood comes out, and then so obviously that's kind of like, haha, right, I got you now.
And that I think that scene's horrible because I can imagine actually there's a lot of stuff like that in the world where it is a case of the elderly are trying browbeaten into doing something they don't want to do, and actually they've got this wonderful life that they're fine living, but because generations want to move on and society wants to grow and develop, and they want to kind of stay in there where they are, which is not a problem. Everybody knew that he didn't do it maliciously. It wasn't out of horrible intentions. It was just like, you've damaging my house, and I love my home, and I've had lovely memories here, and if you take that away from me, then I might lose the fact of remembering it, you know, because you're further away from it.
Yeah.
So it brightens up in the end.
Yeah, because obviously he's unknown to him. He's got a little stowaway with Russell being thing. Although I don't really know at what point he really was under the porch or whatever, because you don't really see him. But again, that's something you kind of have to gloss over, I guess.
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it?
So yes, he's got it builds a relationship with him because it's kind of like a little tag along. Well,
and it's kind of like, I think he needed that relationship because once he's back and everything, it still grows, doesn't it? Where he's there for his badge assistance, and you can see that
he's going to.
It's like he's a grandfather figure in the end to Russell. So it's lovely to see that he's actually out of this. Some things, which
is kind of important for Russell because again his father's not there to be at the ceremony, which is kind of sad, isn't it? Because like Boy and his father would be quite supposed to be a sacred bond, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and you should be supporting him and being proud of him for what he's done.
Yeah. Another thing being in this that it's rather than the parents, the wife is a widow or the father's a widow, whatever. It's like a divorce that's happened in this case.
Yeah, it is more contemporary, isn't it? In a sense, it is more like touching on things that are not like just a typical Disney where it's like you said, oh, my mother's passed away and it's only me and my dad, and it's like actually no, you can have both parents but they're not together, and it's just more the norm, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
When that film came out, it seems more not normal to have, whereas if you'd gone into an early 90 Disney movie, they didn't see it. It used to be just like one parent, but it's because the other one had been tragically killed or something.
Or just didn't talk about it, so it's assumed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think I still like Kevin as a character. Oh. He's just simple. He's just a comical bird.
Even though it's Kevin, but it's a woman.
Yeah, which I think it makes it all the more funny, just because.
But she's got a lovely heart as Kevin, I think. I know it's a bird, and I know it sounds really strange to say that, but all she really cares about is her babies, and she just wants to look after them and do well by them. And she likes chocolate, which what woman doesn't? And I love the scene where Russell kind of is egging her along with the chocolate. Loves him to bits, then she's like cooing over him, chucking him up in the air, and then when she sees the old man, she's like,
aggressive, and there's just that knock on the head thing with the beak, and it's like as if like I don't know, like a playful like knock back kind of thing.
Well, he did it once to her,
didn't he? Yeah.
And then ever since she kind of just
mimic in the sense.
Yeah.
So that's another little trait there, but you kind of get the sense again it is in a way heartbreaking, when she just injured, her leg gets injured, one part, and it's like, oh no, like a wounded animal, because they're making the sounds, it's like, oh god, you want to do something, but but even if it's a cartoon character, and
but you do get that attachment, and I think you can see that it does depict the animal kind of quite well, because it is a case of any animal that is injured, if they heard the babies, they'd straight away want to flock to it and look after them. And I did find it strange though when I did see the babies, I was like, wait a minute, Kevin is massive, and these babies are like...
Well, they might be newly hatched.
No, I mean, and even if they were newly hatched, they'd be a bit bigger than that.
Well, they grow up to be big. But...
They must have a big growth spurt.
Yeah.
That is for sure. They were cute, don't get me wrong. The babies of Kevin were cute. Yeah.
But where was the father in that one? You didn't see the thing, cause unless it's like Godzilla where it produces asexually.
Maybe it's one of those things where the women just look after them. Maybe it's one of those species where the man just does its deed and then finds another woman later on. I don't know.
And of course, we've got the other character of Charles Muntz, the explorer with his big airship and his army of dogs, which must have been breeding for quite some time or something, or a lot of inbreeding, because it's pretty much he was gone and everybody forgot about him.
Well, I didn't realise who this man was initially when I first watched it. It was like, it's this weird man on an island with loads of dogs. And I don't know why he's there or where he'd come from or what. And I didn't actually even know he was out to kill the old man.
Well, no, it wasn't the intention initially, but because again, he was thinking he was coming to take his prize that he'd been searching his whole life.
Yeah,
very much.
I understand where he's coming from, I guess, because he's been on this with no human contact and such. But
yeah, maybe a bit stir crazy, but
yeah, I think so. And obviously they will he was the old man's idol, really. That's the whole reason why they wanted to go to where.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of like how, because obviously when Carl was like a boy, Charles Muntz was like a maybe like 18, 20-year-old. So he must be quite a lot older than.
He doesn't look older though.
They look about the same age almost. They could,
yeah.
Well,
if anything, the old man looks older.
Exactly. So it's like.
One of them's had a hard life. This must be it.
But yeah.
He was. I wasn't a big fan of him.
No,
really.
Especially when he turns, it's kind of like, come on.
Yeah, leave him alone. He's not trying to do any harm. He's just looking after the animal. Yeah. Just let that go now. There's no point in trying to get back to society really with his life, because everything's
changed
anyway. And he's not got a home or anything. He might as well just live in the island.
Yeah,
that he's created.
Like he's wasted his life. Whereas Carl and Ellie did have a nice life, and they didn't go trekking halfway around the world to try and find.
That's where I see life. It's like, well, actually, you can have a nice life, not trekking around.
Yeah.
You can just love the simple life.
Yeah. And, he was all alone other than his dog companions.
Like, which one would you, if you had a choice, let's say you're up in heaven and basically before you're born, they're going to go, right, these are the two lives you get to pick. You can either fall in love with a woman, spend the rest of your life with her and grow old. Obviously, she dies before you, but,
Well, not obviously.
Well, that's what they're that's what they're going to say in the story.
Okay.
Or you are an adventurer. You travel the world. You explore unknown creatures, but you're all on your own, and you end up living with thousands of dogs.
Well, I'm not a big dog person anyway.
Okay, change it to thousands of cats then.
That'd be very messy. So we'll go with the.
Very messy. Is that the only reason? All those cat litter trays. No. Just can't stand it.
No, the correct answer is the spending life with the woman you love.
That's a very good answer, isn't it? He's not daft. He says the woman that's next to him, that he's actually proposed to, so he has to say the answer, doesn't he? But really he's thinking, I could have a white cat, a tabby cat, a ginger cat, a fluffy cat. No, I agree with you. I think it's one of those things, you can be rich and famous and have the amazing world, but if you have no one to share it with, it's pointless. In the end, it comes down to, if you don't have any family, friends, loved ones, a partner, having it all is not really having it all.
It's not really worth it, is it?
No. I'd rather have a really simple life and have everybody I loved around me than have an amazing life but not be able to tell anybody or share it with anybody. And I think that's what kind of this moral of the story is a little bit. It's like actually having a mundane, normal life
ain't so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what you kind of get out of it.
Yeah. I think that's probably what they were going for.
Mm.
Quite a colourful film as well, really, was like the jungle and the balloons, of course.
I love the balloons. I have an obsession with balloons. I sound like quite a bit of a child. I do love balloons, don't I? Like if it's a birthday,
yes,
and I'm not by any time young, but I still have to have balloons on my birthday. It's just a thing that we do. I want banners, I want balloons, I want to be checked like a 5-year-old. So when I saw the balloons, I was like, it's so pretty.
I don't know as to when he had the time to do all that in the space of a night. Blow all his balloons up.
He must have stayed up. He had helium.
Yeah, he did have helium, but...
So it's not like you're blowing...
No, but it still take... There was thousands of balloons to lift that house up.
True. Well, in hindsight, I don't really think thousands of balloons would lift any house up.
And it's all cartoon stuff, so...
But it's pretty effect, it is. Really
yeah, pretty.
Like if I could move my house, then I would. Yeah. Like when we've been looking for houses, we've always been saying about, oh, this house is perfect, but it's got a rubbish area. Could you not just pick it up and plop it somewhere else?
Yeah.
And it's like, them balloons would really come in handy.
Yeah,
like, let's say you're sick of the site that you're seeing, or like you want to go on holiday.
Yeah.
Just take your house and
and just
plank it in like Scotland or something like that, or the Lake District, and be like,
that's
right,
really nice. Yeah.
In the middle of a field, here we go.
Yeah, as long as you get your plumbing and things set up, then you're fine. You're laughing, aren't you?
Yeah.
But watching this again, obviously it's been about 10 years now since it came out, and even now looking back at something Pixar's done recently, like Toy Story 4, for example, and the level of detail they've put in, that they was good back then, don't get me wrong, like the details and stuff, but there's definitely been another jump with the quality of like the textures of things and stuff.
Yeah, I guess I can see where you're coming from. Obviously, it's always
That's
improving.
more my technical eye, I suppose, with things, but
I think it was more simply drawn as well. It was detailing up, but it was more somewhat basic-ish. Your detail was there, but it wasn't as needed. It was more vibrant, like you said.
Yeah.
I think it was more your colours. Because imagine having to draw all those balloons and then picking each different colour. Simple tasks like that could take quite a long time to actually do.
If it was hand-drawn, it would...
Even on Illustrator or Photoshop or whatever you animate or whatever you're using to use these. I can imagine if you've got thousands of balloons that you've drawn and then trying to change every colour.
Certainly be easier in a 3D environment.
Yeah, it would, but it's still time consuming. Especially because we're like, which colour now? Like it'd be that bit that would take the longest, would picking out the colour. Oh, I've already just used that one, that's a bit too close.
Because I'd be proper finicky about that as well. Like, colours different, got to be separate to that one, so it's not closely related to that one, as so to speak.
Yeah, so that in itself can take quite a bit of time. In the jungle, like you said, was really, really colourful. But I think the actual detail was there, but it wasn't as detailed as some. But maybe that's like what you were saying about.
Meaning kind of just... It was like things like dirt textures on things, like on clothes and stuff like that.
It felt more like a cartoon, the designs as well.
Yeah, they weren't proper human shape proportions, you mean?
Yeah,
that's really, like Carl's face was like more square.
He reminded me of a little pop vinyl.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, there probably is one.
Which would look really, really, really like him.
Yeah. Whereas Russell's like round and, yeah.
The only one that actually looked like a normal human
was Charles Muntz.
And his wife, Ellie, was it
Ellie?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
They were the two that had the most normal human figures, should we say.
Yeah.
But I like the way the old man's kind of drawn. He's like, kind of like, That's how it feels like he's...
Yeah, the way that reflects his character, yeah.
And the way the shapes are with him kind of actually portray that, like, is...
Yeah, exactly. Probably going for a more...
Like a boxed off kind of effect, which is kind of apt because he was all in boxes. So he's like, kind of like, no, don't want anyone to deal with me. I don't want any part of my life kind of being infringed on.
Yeah.
I'm independent and I'm fine. I can just do everything I want the way I want.
Any other points before we get to the scoring? Like the very end with how Charles Muntz gets offed, or anything to do with that, or
I just think he deserved it. Really, I didn't feel any sorrow for him
plummeting down.
No,
with balloons. Yeah.
If anything, he was just a bit cuckoo, wasn't he? Basically, the time that he'd spent up there had made him quite selfish, and did they end up they took his ship, didn't they, and the dogs?
Well, they had to, because the house lost loads of balloons, so then it ended up floating back down to a thing, but it did perfectly land where it was supposed to be.
Yeah. So it was like a poetic kind of ending with that as well. Yeah,
he didn't know that, but for us, the viewer, we knew that was where it belonged.
Did he take all the dogs on as well?
Yeah, because he was at all the dogs were at the ceremony for the Scouts thing.
The ending, the fact that they were all there, and I feel like we haven't really spoke about Doug, but it was nice to be able to see that he became the leader of the pack.
Yeah, Alpha.
Yeah, and I loved that. He was like, yeah, you deserve that, instead of that squeaky dog.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
Butch, that was...
The Doberman, yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the female voice, that was quite cleverly done. And then when it had, fixed up, it was like...
Thank you, Master.
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to sound.
I'm glad you did that bit. I don't know where that would have come from.
So squeaky in the face.
Do it again.
Master will not be pleased.
Have you been practising this? It's very good.
Well, it's like an Alvin and the Chipmunks type voice, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is. But... So I think we can probably... I think that's everything that we've captured.
Yeah. If you want to go to the scoring now.
So I don't actually really plan my scoring. Kind of talk through it, and then I'm like...
reflect on it from that. So you've soak in what you've watched, leave it a
couple of days, and then it's like, right, we reflect on what we've said. And I always find it hard to really score them. I think with Up, would I want to re-watch it? I know you can laugh at me. Probably not, because I wouldn't want to cry. I'm one of those that's like, oh, if I know I'm going to cry, I'll avoid it because I know what I'm like. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good film to watch. It's just...
That's what I mean. That's putting on and knowing that I'm going to be upset by it. But it's still a good story. Despite all that, you get past that bit. It's only for a brief moment, and then you can just move along. But you need that bit because it's a pivotal point in the story.
It is, but I think it made me kind of reflect on our lives as well. So I was like, oh, don't leave me, Paul, don't go anywhere. I'll be so upset. And then I was like, still this morning, like, oh, he's there, it's okay. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of one of those where, more just for my sanity, I guess, because I know I take movies to heart, so I'll kind of put them into real life context. So then I'm putting it up as in like me and you are. You're you're the grumpy old man.
Yes, true.
And I'm the kind of, not the adventurous one, but wanting to kind of live life and kind of I get really excited about anything.
Yeah.
And I tag you along for the ride. Mm-hmm. So I think that I could see me and you in this.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I kind of see that as well.
Yeah, so I think that made it even worse for me. I would probably... It is a high score that I will give it because I really did enjoy it. And it was weird because it felt like I was watching a new movie but watching new parts of it. Because obviously I'd seen clippets. So I'd probably say a 9 would be my score. Just for the colour, the story. Even though the story made me cry. I don't think I could watch it and maybe give it a couple of years. But I think it adds a lovely story to it. There's some really good characters as well that you can fall in love with and really like in the end.
Definitely. But I'm going to go one step higher and give it a 10.
Really?
Yeah.
And why is that?
Well, for all the things you've said just now. But I think really watching it with you this time again, it's a kind of another side of appreciation for it a little bit more because of the, like you've said about how we've said how similar we are, I guess, to those two in a sense, because I'm the old man and you're the more bubbly kind of personality of the woman and all that stuff. The music again is a big key thing for me with the stirring the emotions and stuff. They're all brilliant set of characters. There's never anything in it that's like, oh, this is boring, or there's nothing drags.
No, it flows quite quickly. Well,
there's nothing there and going, oh, that needs to be cut out.
Well, to say that the fact that they're dragging this house across a jungle for most of the film, it doesn't feel like they're like, are they there yet?
There's nothing. There's the humour in it is great and everything, and it's just.
But it's adult friendly and child friendly as well. It's.
There's something for everyone. I feel like everyone gets something out of it, so therefore that's why I give it 10 out of 10. And that'll be the first 10 I've given on these reviews.
I don't think I've given a 10 yet, have I?
Not yet, no.
I wonder what it'll be.
I think the highest you've given is a 9 before, but you have not given a 10 yet.
No, I haven't.
I'm sure as we go along there'll be something that you stick with you.
Probably.
Let's get that elusive score.
It has to not make me cry. If it hadn't made me cry, it might have been a 10.
Right, okay. No, even with that, it's a thing that shows I have a heart, so...
Yes, you do. You do, sweetie.
So, thank you once again for listening to what we had to say. Hopefully you got something out what we were talking about this time. I know it wasn't too much to do with the storyline of stuff we were jumping around about everything, but I feel like there's a lot more to this than just...
the basic storyline
of what went on.
I do think probably a lot of people have probably actually already seen Up, and I'm pretty much one of the, out of like 100, the odd one that might not have seen it. Okay. So it's a case of not wanting to kind of repeat what people might already know as well.
Yeah, well, it's quite a simple storyline as well, if you think about it.
I do think, though, with everything going on, it's a case of it's nice to actually have something to sit back at, kind of think things are normal for a little while and put you into a nice little bubble that you need, because it is a lovely, positive in the end film. So
enjoy the story and not cry, maybe. I don't know. I think most people did when they saw this, so it's very difficult.
If somebody didn't cry, I would really, really question that person. But I guess I'm surprised. You kind of whelmed, even if it's whelming, I'll let that one off.
Yeah.
But like if you just sat there like smiling,
stone faced,
like this doesn't faze me, then maybe question yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for listening to my thoughts on Up. I hope you enjoyed our chat about it.
Remember, you can find us on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, and now also on Google Podcasts as well.
Branching out. We also have a Facebook page as well.
Yeah, and of course we've got our Instagram and Twitter. So search for SP Film Viewers, you'll find us on there.
Also, just to note as well, because I just think sometimes it gets overlooked at how much Paul actually does put into this. So I kind of get off lightly in a sense, because I just basically get to talk for an hour, which isn't difficult for me.
Well, it's a bit more for me, but I try my best.
And then Paul, bless him, he ends up having to do all the editing, which will be where Sophie decides that she needs to cough or sneeze just to be a pain.
Shh. Pulling back the curtain.
And then obviously the amazing artwork that Paul does for our Twitter, and obviously you can even see it on Spotify now as well. And Instagram.
Do the little artwork, custom artwork for the podcast.
Yeah, which is truly appreciated. So really, actually, the hard work is all behind the scenes.
So thank you once again, and we'll speak to you next time.
Take care. Speak to you next time.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.